Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Mik'd. Today is Wednesday, September 3rd. I wanted you to bring the personality. You're bringing it. Good start today with the little pop to top. Winner's drink, not a seltzer. We don't need you with the seltzer. We need you with the uppers, not the downers.
Yes.
Today.
Have to go back on the bus to go get those.
What's that?
Have to get on the bus to go get those.
Or you just go get right around the corner from us. Yeah, well, okay. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the legal stuff. Lot to talk about. A lot of sports, obviously. A lot of sports conversation to be had today. It's Wednesday. LSU La Tech, first home game in Tiger Stadium this weekend. Obviously we'll talk a little bit about that game. More so about LSU, kind of what we didn't talk a ton about the recap of the game. We mentioned some things that happened over the weekend. We obviously had Cam Vaughn in studio, which was awesome. I think he took him a little bit. He really warmed up to the show, gave us some good insight, gave us some nice Nick Saban tidbits. Had Bryce Kuhn on the show talking a little bit about
running like you got razor blades in your ass.
I mean, listen, I think every coach has some weird sayings.
Running through his defense like shit through a tin horn.
What?
That's another Nick Saban one.
Is that another one?
From game day last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Don't know what a tin horn is still.
I don't know what a tin horn
West
is.
Virginia.
Maybe we can Google it. But we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about the LSU La Tech game. LSU moves up 6 spots to number 3 in the latest polls. Light slate of college football games throughout the course of the weekend. But, with the light slate, my computer died. I made it to the start of the show.
There you go.
Made it to the start of the show. With the light slate again, there's a bunch of games. There's probably 5 or 6 games that I find kind of interesting. I think there's some teams that are trying to take that next step of being serious. I don't want to call them maybe contenders of winning a national championship, but maybe like contenders of stirring something up, right? Kind of making things difficult for teams. You have Arizona State at Mississippi State. Obviously, Arizona State was in the playoffs last year. They are ranked 12th in the country. Sam Leavitt, I believe, is their quarterback over there at Arizona State. Really good quarterback. They are going to Mississippi State. Mississippi State's trying to revamp their culture there. They're trying to kind of get off on the right foot. Interesting game to kind of look at there. Michigan at Oklahoma is the marquee game of the weekend. Obviously, a lot of LSU eyes. A lot of national eyes will be on that game, but a lot of LSU eyes will be watching that because of one Bryce Underwood starting on the road at Oklahoma. His first big game as a starting quarterback in college football. Our next opponent, LSU's next opponent next weekend, is Florida. They're playing at home against USF. That is an interesting game, too, because if you watched USF last week, USF played very physical. They had a bunch of seemed like hard-hitting, talented guys on the defensive side, and their quarterback is a tank. And he's going to be an issue for some guys. He runs the ball. He looked for – he scored, I think it was a 30-yard touchdown run. He was looking for contact, ran over the safety just for good measure to get in the end zone. Iowa State doesn't seem – any game Iowa's in doesn't feel like it's going to be very high scoring, but they always have a good defense. Now they have a quarterback who transferred in that is supposed to be really good. Iowa State has a quarterback who is getting a lot of pub here recently, and so that should be an interesting one. And then Illinois-Duke. Illinois obviously also has another returning quarterback there, and their offense is supposed to be really good. Duke's quarterback is a transfer from Tulane who was one of the highly sought-after guys in the portal last year, transferred to Duke. So, even though there's a light slate of games, it's going to be a little bit interesting. Obviously, we're going to have some money on some of these games, which makes it a lot more interesting for us to watch.
Well, your co-host here seemed to ruin the parlay.
Not me.
I said your co-host.
And not you.
Uh-huh. There's one other
we don't point fingers in here. We don't point fingers. We're a team. We go out.
You're right.
We win as a team. We lose as a team. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I made some bad picks last year. You made some bad picks last year. Jared, for like the first 6 weeks, didn't miss last year. And so, just get out the way early. It's fine.
I mean, he's a national champion.
And he can play.
Two-time
national champion, one time in baseball, one time in football. He's a top 100 football recruit. Played football at LSU at the highest level. Played quarterback right-handed, played baseball left-handed. There's not many guys that you can say can do that. He knows ball, It wasn't his fault. I was blaming it on Texas A&M. It was Texas A&M's fault.
There you go. It
was Texas A&M's fault.
They're supposed to come out and show out. They ain't doing
They were supposed to go out and show.
I was trying to get it out of the way early because I couldn't go through the rest of the year thinking that I was going to be picking on them. I tried to get it out of the way. They didn't even deliver.
No doubt. And they messed it up, but we got close. We're going to do it again. There's other games. Look, NFL starts tomorrow. You have the Philadelphia Eagles playing at home against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, big-time rivalry. Dallas Cowboys been in the news a lot lately. Old Jerry Jones.
About everything but football.
Everything but football. They lose their best player, get some guys back. Jerry Jones said that's what they wanted to do. They're going to be a better team. All that kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Now they're going on the road to play Super Bowl champs, their biggest rival. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are 3.5-point favorites at home, game 1 of the season, tomorrow on Thursday. Prime, Amazon Prime.
Jerry Jones has caught the acting bug, huh? After he was in Land.
Hey, he crushed it in Landman, though.
Yeah, then he did his own documentary about,
Have you watched that?
No.
I heard it's actually really good.
I heard it's very much a recycled version of all the stories that Jerry likes. Let's go to the 90s.
Okay. Yeah, that's whenever the heyday of the
we're not talking about 2000, 2010.
Let's talk about when we were good.
Yeah.
Someone won Super Bowls and we're America's team, all that kind of stuff. But I will watch it. I haven't watched it yet. That'll be on the playlist of the treadmill in the mornings.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Run to that. It's Wednesday, so it's Ask Mikey and Mitch. So we have some questions from the social media. Put the questions in the chat as we continue to go through the course of the show. And look, it is football season. It is football season. But baseball season is winding down. This is the stretch run of the playoffs. There's some baseball drama that happened last night that we're going to talk about throughout the course of the show. I think it's a little Bush League. I'll just get that out there. But we'll talk about why I think it's Bush League and if I think it was done on purpose or not, which I think my tone is telling you that I think that it was done on purpose. But let's get to the football conversation before we get to anything else. Obviously, LSU is, we've recapped that weekend. We've recapped that game a little bit. They're playing at home this weekend against Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech obviously isn't up to par, I guess, when it comes to talent on the field. Louisiana Tech has had some recent years where they've been a pretty solid football team. I don't expect LSU to have much trouble. They should not have much trouble this weekend. We've talked about this a lot in the past. When you have games like this, what good teams do is they handle their business early and they move on, right? You don't let these teams hang around. It's a good weekend. It's a good game for LSU to kind of get some guys in rhythm, right? Get the receiving core in rhythm. Allow these guys to get some, everybody get a little taste, have some catches, make some plays, do some things that maybe they weren't able to do last weekend because the game plan did not allow for it. It's another week for you to allow Juwan Johnson to continue to get comfortable at the running back position, which I do want to talk about a little bit more because he was obviously the running back too last weekend, and that could be because of the game planning and because of the defense they're going up against, or it could be because that's what they feel about it and that's what's going to be going forward. We'll see that this weekend, but I'd imagine you're going to see all 4 running backs get some touches, allow the offensive line to continue that chemistry, and allow the defense to kind of continue to build on what they did last weekend against Clemson. So even though it may not be a game where it's going to be super tight, hopefully it's not super tight, it's a game there's a lot of things to work on. There's a lot of things to continue to improve on getting ready for Florida the next weekend. Jared, what's your take on this weekend? Is that kind of what you're feeling about what you want to see from these guys going into this weekend?
Yeah, this is definitely an opportunity for the boys to get the work in that they need to get done, but it obviously has to be done to the tune of or the thought of winning. Look, I look for these games so at the end of the day, when you're facing teams like this, it's huge for you to get wins, right? And you want to get wins in a quote-unquote convincing fashion. Now, understand that convincing fashion may be 45-0. Now, understand when I say something like that, for me, is 45-0 in these kind of games can be deceiving. Because if it takes you into the second half to really start scoring the bulk of these points in the starters for a longer time, how good are you? What did you really get done? So I really do look, and like I said, we'll find out where Louisiana Tech is in terms of teams this year, but I really do look for like these opportunities. I look for starters to be able to get out of the game early. The earlier, the better. That lets me know you're on top of what you need to be taken care of, right? And then that allows the younger guys to come in, the backups to come in and get the work in that they need to push themselves along a little bit further, give themselves an opportunity to be that much closer to have their number called on when they're ready. So that 45-0 to me, I like to see those teams go out and dominate the first half, the first 2.5 quarters, the first 3 quarters. That way you can get out of there and you allow those guys to get in behind you. So like that's what I'm looking for, and how they use shoots to do it. Also, there is another side of it in terms of too is how there's so much that LSU has at their disposal this year. And a lot of years, right? Like that's kind of a thing. You're able to get players in there. It's been that way for 20 plus years, right? But how much can you do without actually emptying the Rolodex of what you do in terms of being able to kind of bread and butter this thing and dominate a ball game without actually having to get in your bag and go deeper into your playbook? So like those two things, you marry those two, and then you get an idea of kind of what kind of team you have. So I'm looking to see them kind of get going early. That way you can go ahead and hand that thing off to the rest of the roster and finish off the night.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about this on Mondays. Like, the college football doesn't have a preseason, right? And everybody's going to talk about, Dabo came out and said, we had a final exam week 1. I don't hate the analogy. I agree with that. You had a very hard test in week 1 of the season. Now, I think his grading scale, obviously, which has been very much discussed, is not correct. But you don't have the opportunity like NFL guys or NFL teams to go out there and play 3 games and kind of get an understanding of the flow of the game and kind of get in rhythm. You start off with a tough opponent. You pass that test with flying colors. You move on to the next one. This is a game that allows you to kind of get into that rhythm, right? It allows you to, hey, Clemson's defense and the way that they were playing and the way they were scheming us, it did not allow for us, or we did not game plan for us to throw the ball down the field very consistently. We played, a lot of underneath. We did a lot of creative we had a lot of creative play calling, a lot of screens, a lot of short underneath quick passes, which is what the game plan called for, right? Now you go play against Louisiana Tech. You allows yourself to kind of, expand the route tree, expand the playbook into some stuff that you're going to run throughout the course of the year. What I'm interested to see is, some of these other running backs that maybe didn't get an opportunity to play a lot this past weekend, and then Juwan Johnson, kind of how is he going to fit into this room? Because he was running back 2 over the weekend in Clemson, right? Is he going to be running back 2 through the course of the year, or is it going to be you have running back 1 in Caden Durham, and then you're going to have a whatever the game plan calls for as the number 2 guy. I'm interested to see kind of what happens there. How do they utilize him? He didn't have a lot of between the tackle runs. He had a lot of outside. He had a lot of, let's throw him the football and bubble screens, that type of stuff. So that stuff is what I'm interested in seeing. I'm interested in seeing the defense coming out there and continuing to set the tone. Allowing, I'd imagine you're going to see some Ashton Stamps. You didn't see him at all in week 1. Seeing them continue that momentum against a team that they should dominate, right? When you should dominate a team, I want to see them go and dominate them. That's a sign of a really good team. Lloyd?
Real quick, too. I want to think about this because as you're saying this, I'm wondering and I'm thinking, like, will this be something we kind of see as a team? Now, understand, too, like, a lot of what I'm saying has kind of been the wave of how defenses try to attack offenses in terms of we're going to shell the hell out of this thing and we're not going to let you beat us over the top and we're going to make you continue to dunk it down. But when I start to think about LSU's actual personnel and I start to think about how LSU has done stuff, right? Now, you have a 5th-year veteran seasoned quarterback who's the son of an NFL offensive coordinator. So one would assume, and I think that's been shown too as well, obviously, that he knows how to read and break down defenses. Even though he is a gunslinger, you would think that teams are going to sit here and say, okay, let's see if you're going to start trying to fit it in these spots as opposed to us manning up and letting you kind of do what you like to do best, right? That's one side of it. But then the other side of it also says, if I have a guy that's 6'7", that I can attach to the line and or flex him out, and I got other little guys who can also run and take the top off, and I have another X-type receiver in Chris Hilton, those kind of weapons on an offense doesn't sit here and say to me, hey, let's man them up. They can't beat us. So I want to see going forward what we saw. You know, Clemson's at home, and it's allowed, and they feel good about themselves. And they still sat here and said, nah, you're not going to beat us over the top. I want you to throw it under. I want you to run it 30 times, and let's see if you can beat us. And LSU did it. How many teams are going to try to keep following that game plan? Because it does sound right now today, where it stands, the health of the team, what we know of the team, what they've shown us in the past, that if you want to beat them, it sounds like make them continue to run the ball. It sounds like make Garrett Nussmeier make a mistake, and let's see if he's rectified the stuff that he did last year. That's what it sounds like to me. So I feel like it may be a good while before we start finding plays or ways that we're like kind of taking the top off of defenses.
Correct.
I don't see too many teams saying this is the way to beat this ball club right now.
They're gonna start doing the same thing that the NFL did to Patrick Mahomes a couple years ago. Hey, we're gonna play back. We're gonna make you throw underneath. We're gonna make you be patient. We're not gonna let you take the home run ball and beat us over the top. And he did that, right? If you go look at everybody, all of these analysts or people, breaking down the film of the weekend, the big theme was, and if you go look at Todd McShay, he had a really good breakdown of why he believes Nussmeier is the best quarterback in the country and why he showed it on the game week 1 of the season is because of his anticipation of throws, right? He throws guys open. He doesn't wait till they get open. He understands the defense. He makes the checks. He moves guys around, and he's able to trust himself to be able to make that right read and throw guys open. And you saw that a lot. And so if he can continue to do that without having to force the issue, I think you're going to see this team click on all cylinders. And I don't think you have to throw the ball down the field consistently. And I think that if they continue to do that, it's going to force teams to come up and not do that and not play the two-shell coverage and allow you to play everything in front of them. They're going to have to take more risk, and it's going to allow the offense to open up a little bit.
Well, okay, so and just one little thing, I guess, too, if you want to call it combat that, obviously you're not playing Clemson every week, and I'm not sitting here saying that I think all of these teams have the talent level and or the experience and or the ability to match what Clemson did, but Clemson did that and still to a tune was in a 7-point ball game and kept LSU to 17 points. I think in their minds they probably thought if we keep them under 20, we're probably going to walk out of this game with a win. So that's kudos one side, obviously, to the defensive side of the ball to be able to do what they needed to do. But right now being shown offensively, Clemson's kind of shown you the game plan or the blueprint to give yourself a chance to beat this LSU team the most. So if you can do these things without them starting to score a ton or just literally manhandling you up front, then that's where it's like, well, there is no real reason to change. And I'm not at all saying that they didn't play well. They played really well. They stuck to the run. But this is with the no turnovers. This is with the no real penalties that stopped you, the no negative plays on 1st and 10 that's really going to put you behind the sticks and make you have to start pushing the ball. So I think teams are going to be like, all right, if we can start finding ways to do that,
for sure, that's
going to make it tough. Because, like I said, 17 points on the road in that situation, I think if Clemson went to bed the night before and said that this would be LSU's final score, we win. They might think they win by more than one possession as well.
No doubt. And look, Clemson has a really good defense. And look, if we could figure out what a catch was, it would have been 24-10. It should honestly, they scored. The touchdown was the one drive. The field goal happened off of a turnover for LSU. They got 0 yards. Clemson got 0 yards after the turnover and kicked the field goal. It was free 3 points that LSU gave them. But I agree with you. They forced LSU to go the long way and have to go and methodically drive down the field to be able to put points up. And I don't believe that all the defenses are as talented as them. But, yeah, that is the blueprint for sure. For sure. Lloyd, what do you feel?
Well, I was going to say because the score results in a win, right? Obviously, LSU won the football game. But when you look at it on paper, I don't know if people would pick the fact that LSU won based off what they did. When you have 2 turnovers, one being a Bauer-Sharp fumble.
And one doesn't really matter.
But
should have been 3 points. Should have kicked it. The turnover should have been a kick. Yeah.
And so those type of decisions, you get a touchdown taken off the board. But this all comes back to offensively you can be better. And what they did, they ran 10 screen passes and 2 RPOs. Like they were obviously trying to live underneath. But my question is, obviously Clemson has a good defensive front. We'll see more about that as they play. But was that more of trying to mask your offensive line's inability for you to throw it deep, or is it the fact that Clemson's defensive line is so good you don't even want the matchup?
I think it was a combination, in my opinion. I mean, I think that it was, hey, this is what gives us our best chance to win, right? Based off of their defense, game 1 of the season, I think it gives us an opportunity to get the ball out quickly. Doesn't allow us to keep our quarterback clean, and I think that scheme fit the game plan the best against Clemson. Now, I think that what LSU did show is that they're now able to win games in a bunch of different ways. Last year they had to outscore you, right? Last 2 years they had to outscore you. This year it's like, hey, we scored 17 points against a really good team, against a Heisman finalist quarterback who's going to be a first-rounder, and we were able to hold them to 10 points, and we're able to win games different. LSU hadn't had that the last few years, which I think if anything you take that like, okay, we have the ability to do that now. But I think it was a mixture of both.
I don't think it was a mixture at all of worrying about who you have or what you have on the offensive line. I'll just throw these numbers out to you as I'm looking it up, and it's kind of crazy seeing this. 2019, LSU opened the season with Georgia Southern. They won that game 55-3. Does anybody remember being like, oh my God, they threw it all around and did whatever they wanted?
Yeah, Joe Barr threw 5 touchdown passes, right?
Oh, I mean, yeah. If you're asking, I don't know if you're looking for a particular answer, but I remember watching that first drive and being, this LSU team looks totally different.
It was way different.
Looked.
Yeah, he threw 5 touchdowns. Okay.
You're missing what I'm saying, because when you say throw it around, when people say throw it around or ability to throw it deep and do all of that shit, that usually means your quarterback is going to put up big numbers. Fair?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joe threw for 278 yards in that game.
Right.
There wasn't a receiver that had 100 yards in that game.
Right.
They didn't go off in that game. The rest of the year, there was only one game where Joe threw for less than 300 yards, and there was no more games where no receivers reached 100 yards.
Right.
So my point is, in a 55-3 win in the opening game against a Georgia Southern, it's not about let's go ahead and just blow the top off of it. But what you want to do is, much like it is in big games, I'm coming into a season, you want to manage a team, you want to manage a quarterback, you want to get them into a rhythm. There's no need to play action. We're going off the top, all the way up top to start the game. One, you haven't shown anybody on the year that I need to respect your run. So it's really hard to use those kind of things to get that extra step or two to get people to kind of cheat in. So, no, dude, I don't think that the way they had their game plan was because of what maybe you thought you didn't have offensively. It was, all right, this is what we think they'll do. Okay, this is what they're showing us they'll do. And with that being said, I also want to make sure my quarterback, doesn't matter how much I believe in him, I need to make sure I start getting him into a confident area to where he can feel great. Look around the league. Like, I think a lot of the reason why Arch Manning struggled the way he did is because you go on the road, it's his first start, they're playing against Ohio State, they got a great defensive coordinator. All of those things for a coach says, let me pull the reins back. Because if I just let the floodgates open and it goes bad, boom, you're shot. There goes confidence. But if I know I'm not really opening that thing up and it's not great, doesn't work, we can continue to work. We can continue to build. But when I give it to you and you blow it up, it's not good. Nobody wants that. So I think that has way more to do with why they game plan the way they did, as opposed to, I don't know if my offensive line can't protect.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of similar stuff as far as getting Nussmeier in rhythm this weekend. Like, it's not going to be, hey, all goes, and let's see how far he can throw it. You know, I mean, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to be in the flow of the offense, in the scheme of the offense, of what they're trying to do. They're going to run the football, because that's obviously going to be a concerted effort this year of them trying to run it, right? Which brings me to my next point was, you didn't see this over the last couple of years, but the wide receiver group, we talked about how talented they are. The buy-in that they have to the running game of being able to go out there and block and be able to put their nose in it, like that's a huge thing, especially for the running game, right? That is we talk about the offensive line, which obviously that is a big part of it, right? Having a good center, having someone who can understand schemes and protections and be able to run the football. But on top of that, behind that, if the wide receivers only care about catching balls and running routes and not blocking, you're not going to have a successful running game. And I think you saw the wide receivers kind of buy into that this past weekend.
Yeah, I think that is probably the most important thing about having a really good running game is the buy-in and the want to and the ability to receivers blocking downfield, receivers cutting off safeties, receivers finishing plays on the backside. That doesn't allow a safety and or a corner to run down a big play from the backside if you got the right kind of buy-in from a defense in terms of pursuit and how they go about things. So yeah, I think if you look over any good running team's film, it's littered all over the place. You'll see receivers willing to stick their nose in there, willing to crack safeties, willing to crack outside linebackers, willing to block down the field. That's a staple in those kind of offenses.
And you saw one play that people can highlight of, what is it, Barry and Brown, where he kind of, I think it's like the first or second play of the game with Caden Durham, where he like gives up on the play. It's backside, they cut it back, and he was blocking, but then he's like, oh shit, it's coming my way. Then you see him in the third quarter run down and protect run the entire way down the field to continue blocking. And I think there's a world in which, like, there's some film breakdowns out there, and you saw like the ability between, Tyree Adams and Bauer Sharp, like they can get better to get to the second level. Like they didn't trust each other, particularly what they were doing in the run game. And then you saw, but what you did see was, I think why it was so effective was Braylon Moore's ability to get to the second level. He was so knowledgeable about how to block in the run game and what his responsibilities were that it opened up a lot for you in LSU's game plan to kind of utilize Clemson's strength against them by going counter, by using open motion, by going different directions. I think that was a part of the plan that you wanted to use, because that defensive line, if you get them going one way and you feel like you have the ability and the speed to do it, you kind of just outspeeded them.
No doubt. And you saw some – we've talked about that a lot, right? Like,
the creativity was there.
And having an experienced center makes a big difference in the running game. And you saw that, right? Now, look, it wasn't perfect. They had plays that they could have broken for a little bit more yards. They had some missed blocking schemes, but it was better. And it's the first game of the season. You're not going to be perfect, you know. So it's just you have to just continue to get better at that and continue to, just progress as a unit moving forward.
That said, with what Joe Sloan did last year, where you saw like sprinkles of kind of that kind of creative offense, and then he would get away from it. What would you say that he did? I think what he did against Clemson was a maturation from being a second-year coordinator and kind of knowing your personnel a little bit better, because I thought that offense was consistent in the way that they were able to attack versus last year, where you would see Xavier Thomas get one carry and it would go for 15 yards. He doesn't get the ball back. You saw like Jawan Johnson, whenever they split him out wide and put him in the backfield, like that's a mismatch nightmare.
Correct.
And the way that Nussmeier was able to direct the whole thing. Like, you're seeing two guys that are kind of very much in flow, and they have a plan of what they want to do offensively.
And look, and that is true, right? You saw some of his play calling kind of go. I think part of that had to do with the defense, because the defense was giving up so many points, and if you weren't perfect and you weren't keeping up with them scoring points, you were not going to be able to. You weren't able to. I mean, if you remember from last year, you were down the first half quite a bit against teams, so you were playing catch up, and you caught up a good amount of times, right? And so, I think that was a big reason why he went away from it. And they just couldn't run. They didn't run the football. They didn't have. I don't think had a ton of confidence in the offensive line to continue to run it. And so that was my opinion. I don't know, Jared, did you see the same thing? Do you think the same thing, or is there something a little different that you think why he changed his way of play calling this year?
I'll be completely honest with you. Like, I think it's unfair for us to sit here and say that just how much the defense gave up is why they didn't run the ball well last year. For being completely honest, LSU played a lot of this game from behind too. Obviously, it wasn't 2-3 touchdowns from behind, but you still played from behind in this ball game. I think Joe actually did a great job in his own offseason of getting more creative with the run game and finding different ways. And then the second, which is the biggest part, is not deviating from the run game. They ran the ball 31 times in that ball game, and they were behind for a majority of the ball game. That shows you a commitment to the run game, and like I said, the difference and the variations that he started adding into the run game. I think that's way more of a story than quote unquote what they thought or believed and what the defense that they have and what they maybe didn't have.
Correct. I think that's majority of it. I think the other part was just a small part. I think the majority of it was, hey, I learned my lesson. We have got to run the football. I've got to get more creative in being able to scheme us up a little bit better to run the football, without a doubt. And
because I think it's true. I think there's a world too. You got to understand, like, when you get away from the run game, you also kind of make it tough on the defense if you're not able to sustain and continue drives by just throwing the ball.
Right.
So you're not helping the case for a quote unquote not great defense by not being able to run the ball on one side. So I personally think, like I said, what we saw was more of a maturation in Joe Sloan as a coordinator than it was, oh, we got a better defense, I'll just run. Like, I think he started getting in his bag a little bit more.
Correct. And you extend the game because if you're throwing the ball over the place, the clock stops a whole bunch, and the rhythm of the game you don't really feel like you're getting really, especially if your offense is stalling by throwing the football all over the place.
Put 3 and outs, give them an opportunity.
You know what I mean? Like, damn, we got to get back on the field. We've been sitting down for 5 seconds. You know what I mean?
And y'all remember, too, like watching him last year, how many times on like first or second down we see him run, and it's still 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
or pass.
Like, and then now the next drive we don't run at all because there was a lot of that going on. That ain't got shit to do with the defense.
Right. 100%.
I mean, you could even, I guess the best, I guess we're trying to compare this to a Louisiana Tech or whatever, coming off of last year, they ran it 21 times against Nichols. And Garrett Nussmeier played essentially that entire game. They threw it 37 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's something.
I mean,
compared to what's the number that they just rushed it for? Like, how many rushes did they have?
31
times.
31 times last Saturday.
And you ran it 20 times against Nicholls State, and we're in a one-possession game going into the third quarter.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We didn't mention Garrett Nussmeier is the Davey O'Brien Award, like the Offensive Player of the Week, and then
SEC Player of the Week, he and Braylon Moore, which I think is well-deserved.
Right.
And because LSU is certainly the flavor of the week right now. So in the SEC, you saw, what they say, won 14 of 16 games, but LSU was definitely the belle of the ball. And then he was named the Walter Camp National Offensive Player of the Week. Camp.
And then you had Mansour Lane was named the Thorpe Player of the Week.
Bednarik.
Oh, Bednarik. I'm messing up all the awards. Thorpe is a secondary, though. That's why,
defense.
Yeah.
But Bednarik Award winner of the Player of the Week, National Player of the Week, very much obviously deserved for both of them.
Confetti everywhere.
Confetti everywhere. Now, don't rest on your laurels though. You know what I mean? You got to get back to work. You got to go out there and you got to go get back to business, take care of business, and get ready for the big game where hopefully game day is here in Baton Rouge against Florida.
I heard a little.
We heard that on the show.
Maybe
breaking news.
That's right.
On the show, like if everything goes according to plan, seems like it's going to be Florida at LSU game day, week 3.
And it's so funny.
You like that?
Love that.
You like that? He does Garrett does have a little bit of Kirk Cousins.
No, he does not.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
A little quirky.
Much cooler than Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I mean, Kirk Cousins has had his moments in the sun.
Yeah.
But it's funny to look at this stat sheet and see where LSU was. They didn't know who their personnel was. Like looking at the Nichols, they had. Who do you think their leading rusher was?
Nichols, Xavion Thomas.
One Caleb Jackson with 8 carries for 28 yards.
Wow.
Like Caden Durham had
that 5, one he hadn't even started playing yet.
He had 5 carries for 4 yards.
Yeah.
And then next week,
then that was.
Then it came. I was like, okay, who can do this?
Yeah.
Because you remember, it was after the USC game where during this week of practice, that's when John Emery went down, and he was your leading.
No, I thought he
rusher.
hurt his knee in the game.
No, he hurt his knee in practice.
That's right.
And then Caleb Jackson, who got 1 carry, but he played his role well last week. Where he was lined up he blocked, he played fullback, he blocked for Xavion Thomas. I'm sure it's not something he wants to do, but it was able to get him on the field.
He's contributing.
And it makes me ask, Jared
Speaking of, before you ask questions, it's Ask Mikey and Mitch. If you have questions, throw them in the chat.
Throw them in the chat. Because I do have, because Jared mentioned getting people off the field and how much you want, because I do think they want Garrett Nussmeier has been on a pitch count, probably to not play the entire football game or certainly throw it 37 times. Like he did last year against Nichols. But what's your approach for kind of your starters, and who would you bring in next? Like, do you want to see a lot of Jawan Johnson? Do you want to see Harlan Berry? Do you want to see Pickett out there?
I mean, do I want to see him? Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, how much do you protect them because how important they're going to be going forward? Or do you just have that many good players?
What are we protecting?
Just against injury
No,
I
you gotta
guess.
get him out there, dude.
But that's what I'm wondering is who, like you see Ashton Stamps, like Brian Kelly was asked about him, and it was, well, we're going to play the best players.
Right.
And Ashton Stamps certainly knows he has a role in this team, so I don't know how they're going to manage this because of how important some people are in some spots and how much you want to see some of the freshmen be able to have a role, but how much they could have a role later on.
Jared, you want to take this one first?
Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but it's, you that's the reason why you put together a depth chart, right? Like, you put together a depth chart, you end up understanding who are your starters, and far and forward, like, those starters are what's most important to you. So you go out there, you get the work in. If you're able to get the lead that you need to work with and get to going forward, then yes, next man up. And next man up better be ready. And I don't give a damn who you are or what you think what you like. If you're supposed to be something for us in the future and you're not playing yet, well, you got to get these reps because the more game reps you get, the better, the closer you are to being ready for like real meaningful snaps. Like, we're not trying to save you till we don't get you possibly hurt. Like, we can't bubble wrap you and send you into next year and into the future, car. We got to get you out there. We got to get you playing. We got to get you your feet wet. You got to understand what is going on in an actual game. So, like, that is the approach. And, the more guys you can get in, the better it is for you. So the earlier those starters can get the hell out of the way by getting what they need to get done, then you open it up for those younger guys. So that's the approach on it.
Correct. And, I mean, you can't – like, saving them for a bigger game is doing them a disservice because they are young enough they have to get rest. I mean, you heard Cameron Vaughn on the show on Monday talk about when they were there, like, they would come out the game and the guys, the backups were in the game, and they were getting coached just as hard as the starters because they are an extension of what the starters are because they're the next man up. Right, and so that you want to see those guys go out there and play well, and you want to see those guys get out there and get snaps and get some experience because when you do need them later on in the season, rely on them on a big game, they're not going out there with wide-eyed and just not ready. So yeah, you got to get them out there. You can't save them. Do y'all want to get to the Ask Mikey Mitch?
I am loading up the questions as we
speak.
Perfect. We have a couple in the chat. As we roll, we have a couple on Twitter. They're going all, they're kind of all different ways, but we will tackle the football questions first. And in the chat, Trey Boudreaux, first one up. Ask Eminem, thoughts on this parlay: Iowa State -3, Illinois -3, and Syracuse -6.5. So he's trying to get in the game with his pals.
Who's Syracuse playing?
I don't know who any of them are playing, but that was going to be.
Well, I do know Iowa State's playing Iowa. What was the other one he said?
Syracuse is playing.
He had Iowa -3.
Mm-hmm.
He had Iowa State -3, right? Or
Where's
Iowa?
that game?
He had Iowa State -3, Illinois -3, and Syracuse -6.5.
Okay.
Syracuse is playing.
I like the Iowa State -3. I thought he had the other way around, but I do like Iowa State -3.
I like Illinois -3 too. I think Illinois is pretty good.
And then Syracuse is playing UConn.
And I like
6.5.
Syracuse -6.5.
Illinois
Syracuse
is
is playing UConn.
Illinois is playing.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
All right.
Illinois is playing Duke at Duke. I don't mind that. I don't
I
hate
like
that.
too.
Maybe we'll steal one of these picks or all
What
three.
are the odds on that
Oh,
parlay?
That's a question for Trey Boudreaux.
Well, that's what I'm asking him. Trey, what are the odds on that?
But yeah, not a bad. Anybody that wants to get involved in the mic'd up parlay, we've had guest picks before.
I would love to have a four-legger with a guest pick. I would love that.
So
we'll talk about it on Friday.
Yeah, if you're feeling froggy.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Trey
that on
Boudreaux,
Friday.
you get your first up. But after that, ask Eminem, will everyone be in attendance for the UF game?
I will.
Mikey?
I just said I will.
Uh-huh. I'm looking.
I'm planning on it.
Oh, you're coming
Yeah,
in? You coming in? Hey,
Gold game.
coming in. And wear your gold.
Planning on it.
Wear your gold.
Do you do that? I don't
I am gold.
I don't even have a gold shirt.
Me either. But do you think they wear gold uniforms?
Yes.
You think they're going to wear the gold jerseys?
I mean, isn't that why they have the gold jerseys for that game?
No. They've done the gold game in years past.
I hope they don't wear the gold jerseys.
Me too. Florida's too serious.
Yeah,
This
don't
is
wear
not
the
a-
gold jerseys.
It's not a.
I will be there. I know you will be there, Lloyd.
Yep.
You gonna be there this weekend?
Oh yeah. I don't
Yeah,
miss
me
a
too.
home game.
Me either. I am missing
What
the
kind of question is
Southeast.
that? You already know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I am missing the Southeast.
And I'll stay the entire time.
But yeah, I will be in attendance.
Ask him a lot of gambling questions. I'll
Perfect.
Take 'em.
We're not the experts, but I love that.
Cajun
No,
Curveball.
we may be now.
Ask him. Is this a free cash parlay? Marvin Harrison anytime touchdown against the Saints. Kyler Murray over whatever the rushing yards are, and either Saints to cover or Arizona to win. So he hasn't fully fleshed it out.
Well, okay, here's my deal. If you're doing anytime touchdowns and Kyler Murray over the rushing yards, I don't think that bodes well for the Saints to cover.
Yeah.
Right. You can't have.
Yeah, it's not that. Literally, that's how I'm thinking about it. I'm like, if you're up on the Marvin Harrison touchdown and Kyler Murray over, I wouldn't be on the other side saying, well, the Saints will cover too. I think it'd probably be the other way around.
Yeah, that's a hard one because I just.
But that's just me. If that's my choices.
I would love Marvin Harrison to score a touchdown. He's on one of my fantasy teams. That'd be great. That'd be wonderful. Actually, and Kyler. I got both of those guys. So, yeah, that'd be great. But Saints to cover. What was it? It was Saints to cover or what?
Say that again.
It was the third part of that where the Saints to cover.
Arizona to do what?
Arizona to win.
I mean, I don't hate the Arizona to win part, but
the Saints get one gold game again. Double gold games.
first game at home, you know what I mean?
Repainted the end zones.
You never know. Saints could shock the world.
Sounds like the Saints are doing a lot of social media activity because they know probably
They
not.
just found their new Taysom Hill.
I saw that.
You see that? They
Yeah.
found their new Taysom Hill. And Mellett,
Seventh round pick that got cut.
quarterback from Montana State, but Mellett is his last name. He looked good running.
He did.
He's listed as a wide receiver now. We got any others?
Yeah. Yep. Hold on.
Okay.
Shoot.
Andy Reid 7 on Twitter. I've heard a lot of positives about Gooden, but haven't heard as much about McKinley, Bro, and Guillory after game 1. Obviously, the line was great against the rush. 7 yards was the longest run. But how do you grade the other tackles and defensive linemen outside of Gooden?
Good question. From what I saw, it looked like McKinley was he's the biggest defensive tackle we have, and it just felt he's very physical in the game, right? I think he's that's what you want him to do is you want him to, especially with a 3-4, or I guess you're playing a 3-4-ish defense, 3-3 with a star, is what they consider that. You want that guy up front to be able to be physical and be able to kind of
Hold the point of attack.
yeah, not get the push back towards linebackers, and I saw that through those guys. Obviously, they didn't have the crazy stats.
But
I didn't hate what I saw.
what they did,
Pyburn looked good too.
what they did was their job. Like
Exactly.
There's a lot of tape out there of them kind of, whether it be crashing or rushing up the field, whatever they did, it was to let those linebackers play free.
Correct.
And they let those guys loose.
Yeah.
So they didn't. That's why they didn't have the actual stats. And Patrick Payton was everywhere.
Yep.
Carried home a 77-yard advantage in the run game. We ran the ball 31 times. They ran for 31 yards.
Right.
To me, that shows you a unit that's getting the job done, as opposed to why didn't one lineman and or two flash and stick out. I don't give a damn if I don't hear their name the rest of the year if they play like that.
Yeah.
And I think that is the message that's being told. And that's why you got to love having a defensive line coach like Kyle Williams, who, if you want to call it that, for a large part of his career and where he played, kind of went under the radar for how good he was, not only at LSU, but in the league with Buffalo as well. So he obviously has a very high knowledge of the game. He's obviously able to come here and teach guys as well and be able to help players along and understand how they need to play the game. So it seemed to all culminate very quickly in game 1 in a hostile environment. You're going on the road and to be able to do what they did, I love it.
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't hear one of those guys' names for the rest of the year, because it's obvious they're playing as a unit. And that's kind of what we talked about at the start of the year, right? Like, we didn't tab anyone on that D-line and say, hey, I'm pretty sure come April they're going to be a first-round pick. But we did say, it sounds crazy, but I think they're like 7 or 8 deep. Like, I think they've got a lot of dudes who they could run out there that's going to give you crazy effort, that's going to give you crazy intent, that's going to give you everything that you need, and they play together as a unit. And I think they showed that in game 1 of the season.
Correct.
This is something that we have been meaning to talk about.
Perfect.
A lot of questions about old Framber Valdez.
We're getting there. We're gonna hold off on that. I mean,
We got two of them.
you want to talk about it right now? We'll talk about it right now.
I figured.
Yeah, let's talk about it right now.
If this is both on Twitter and in the chat, Eugene Landry, what will happen with the Houston Astros situation when the pitcher appears to intentionally cross up the catcher in the clubhouse? What are y'all's opinion on Framber Valdez intentionally crossing up his catcher last night during the Yankees-Astros game? Is what happened to Cesar Salazar, the Astros catcher, unprecedented, especially in the PitchCom era?
I think it's complete trash and bullshit that a pitcher would do that, right? Like, I think it's Bush League to show up anybody on your own team, but this is taking it a step forward. Like, hey, one, this guy was trying to help you out. He tried to get you off the mound, the batter before, and you ignored it and gave up a grand slam. And so just because you're upset and you got butt hurt and you want to blame the catcher for you throwing a fastball right down the fucking middle, you're going to go and you're going to cross up the catcher where you clearly knew it wasn't the pitch that was called. And you're going to cross him up intentionally because you're mad at him. Like, you threw him a sinker. It wasn't like you threw him something easy to catch. You threw him a sinker on the hands. Like, break his thumb, break his wrist. Like, that's not something that you do.
No, I've never seen that.
And that is complete and total bullshit. And it's Bush League, and it's fucking – I would imagine now, I don't know what that locker room veteran-wise, they're winning. You would seem that they got some veteran presence. I would imagine that there's been a nice conversation had in there with some choice words said, for sure.
Look, why'd you put this on me so quick? Because you already know I'm about to say something crazy. I can tell you right now, if I'm the catcher in that situation, if I'm Cesar Salazar right there, I'm gonna let you live during the game, and we'll get through all of that. And understanding that my job as a catcher is to handle the pitching staff. You ain't the only one on the damn pitching staff. I promise you, when we get back to the clubhouse, it's on site, bro. I don't care.
No doubt.
I don't care if you 6'6", 300 pounds. It's on site, bro. We got to fight.
No doubt.
If that's what you think is okay at that point, we got to fight. And I don't care what happens at the end of it. And it's funny this question came up because literally, like, I opened my phone and went to Instagram, and the first thing that came up was a post from Michael Schwab last night that said, so there's reports that things got heated in the clubhouse after the game, and it wasn't just between pitcher and catcher. It was other players on the team as well that thought it was bullshit.
As it should be. As it should be. That
shows me the locker room is probably right where it needs to be in terms of the chemistry in there, because that shit is not cool. And
no, dude, no.
I think a lot of media members will sit here and say, as they should too, honestly, at the end of the day, that it's unclear if that was purposely done or not. From playing it around it, I've never seen any shit like that before. And I think anybody who saw that happen and saw a pitcher not go be like, oh, my bad, and try to find out if your catcher's okay, and it was enough for those guys to confront him in the clubhouse after the game, which shows me there probably still was no going to him after that inning during the game and checking on him to see if he was all right. That tells me it was intentional. And that shit ain't cool.
1,000,000%. Like, I'm looking at yeah, dude, and here's the deal, dude. Like, Salazar's not your everyday catcher. He's played 36 games in his entire Major League Baseball career. You don't fucking do that to that guy, right? Like, you don't do it to somebody who's trying to make a career for himself. He's not trying to screw you up. Like, he's trying to help you out. He's trying to do it. Like, that's bullshit. And the fact that the locker room did that is great. That's how it should be, right? And the way Salazar handled it on camera after, kudos to him too. Very professional about it. Didn't throw the guy under the bus who's a veteran, been there for a while. You're the young guy. You're trying to do, like, kudos to him. But behind the scenes, and look, kudos to the locker room because it's a younger guy. It's a guy who doesn't have a ton of experience. He's trying to make his way. Kudos to those guys for backing him up too, because that's bullshit. Bullshit.
What do you think about it, Lloyd? What's your take on it?
Oh, I was gonna ask.
I'm really interested. What's your take on that?
Oh, I mean everything that y'all have said. I was more interested to see, like, y'all have been in obviously clubhouses, locker rooms. How often? I don't think I've never seen that, but how often does it come to blows in the locker rooms when y'all have been a part of it? Like, I know it gets heated. It's my limited experience, but something like that, it feels like what is being reported and what has happened, it seemed very intentional, and it feels like if it's not just the catcher that's upset, or in my mind, a catcher is kind of like a caddy. He'll always go to bat for his guy, and he did what he was supposed to do in terms of the media. But it feels like it's almost other people's job to take up for him, especially when he has 30 games.
That's the thing. So, what I imagine would happen, like if that happened, the times that stuff has happened and on teams that I've played on, especially in the big leagues when there's a
you've seen that happen?
Not like a cross up, but I'm talking about when there's like
beef.
when there's something going on between guys on the team. Especially in the big leagues when you have to allot for media time in the clubhouse after to have interviews. When something like that happens and it needs to get resolved, it either happens, hey, media is going to be postponed for a second, like you're going to give us some time, the door's closed, nobody's coming in, or you're going to go and do what you got to do, media's going to get out quick, and then we handle the business after. And that's usually how that goes. I haven't been around a ton of like full-on fights in the locker room, but I have seen some get in your face, some pushing and some shoving and breaking some stuff up, and then you kind of figure out what's going on. And if you have a good team, you have the veterans, they step in and they kind of take the brunt of it, and they try to, hey, you fucked up. Like I'm gonna let you know that you fucked up, and then let's figure this thing out and move on past it, and don't ever do that shit again. Type stuff.
Yeah, shit like that and that shows you too that I have a veteran locker room too, because shit like that really could make a clubhouse go sideways. Like it really could, because if you have a really young clubhouse, there's a good chance that the tempers flare and the temperature rises before there's an understanding of, hey, make sure that the media is not in here. Mm-hmm. Make sure that there isn't people that can see this stuff. So obviously they have a veteran clubhouse, because it's like to not let media in on that and understand what was going on, whether they chose to have these conversations before they let media in or after. That shows you the veteran part of that clubhouse. But yeah, man, like shit like that could go bad. And if you got a young team, there's a good chance like a lot of that stuff could have gotten exposed.
And that's what's so interesting about like Major League Baseball to me is obviously you have a manager, but when you have guys that are veterans on the team, like Altuve, like the manager doesn't even have to say anything. It's like I would imagine it's like hey, over here real quick before we do whatever, like let's talk about it, and it's a veteran presence saying like calling them out. I mean, like this is not how we operate,
right?
As opposed to if it's football, it feels like it's more like on the coach at some points, or like college baseball, it feels like the coach would handle it. But in Major League Baseball or leadership, it feels like they take the responsibility upon themselves because it's almost the code of the game.
For sure. And look, there's been on a team that I was on, we had a benches clearing brawl, and there was it got heated in our locker room after, because some of the veteran guys felt like some guys on our team weren't bought into our team in the fight. Where it was like, hey, they had a buddy on the other team, or they had, whoever, and they were kind of buddy-buddy. And it's like, hey, listen, dude, like, if this shit happens, we're on the same side. Like, we're throwing blows for each other. And so, like, that, there's a bunch of different reasons on why you have these types of disagreements. But this one, I don't think there's anybody on that team that agreed with him. Like, he was the one versus the rest of the locker room, as it should be. As it should be.
Yeah, I can't imagine that there was, as far as for the action and what was done, I can't imagine that there was truly like teammates on his side. Now I'd imagine also there's dudes that he's probably close to on the team, so that they probably did more of holding him back or making sure that nothing crazy happens. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he doesn't have any friends on the team, but yeah, I can't foresee there was many dudes in that clubhouse defending the action of what happened on the field and kind of what everybody got a chance to see. And we didn't even get a chance to see what the hell happened in the dugout during the game. This wasn't in the ninth inning. We didn't get to see if there was any conversation. We didn't get to see if there was any apologizing. We didn't get to see if there was, damn, I shouldn't have done that. We didn't get to see any of that. And I would only imagine there probably wasn't much of that, or this wouldn't have, our temperatures wouldn't have heated up and flared up once you got to the clubhouse. So like that's, there's that side of it too.
A lot of people are yelling kangaroo court. I don't know if that's at a kangaroo.
Nah, that's way past kangaroo court.
I was about to say, yeah.
You better buy that man a Rolex or some shit. He on a big contract anyway. Like that's way past kangaroo court.
Yeah.
What? Hey, here's a down payment on the crib, cuz my bad.
Yeah. No shit.
What do I got
that's
to
way
make it
past
right?
kangaroo court.
Yeah. A couple more here. A couple from Fonz. who asks this question, it feels like every year, but I have to give the people that don't listen or haven't listened or have just found the show, ask him up. Jay Bitch, the loudest place you played while at LSU for football.
Loudest place?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I just saw something about this a couple days ago. Loudest place I played, obviously. I think so. The SEC to me, it goes in waves, right? Like I think people need to understand is there's probably 5 or 6 fan bases or stadiums that if their team is good, that place is ridiculous. And for me, and honestly, I think LSU ran into this a couple years ago, or maybe it was last year. I don't remember if they were on the road. It has to be last year. They're on the road and they played them. They ran into this last year, which late in the year, it seemed like, oh, them boys are out of it. They're not really in it. And that place was loud. It was kind of crazy. For me, and it was probably because we went there and got our ass kicked twice the 2 times we were there, Florida was ridiculous. Yeah. And the crazy part is, too, is Florida was ridiculous because, so Tiger Stadium is awesome. They've done a great job building Tiger Stadium up, and it's huge and it's big and it gets loud and the noise stays in. But the one thing they don't have, and I'm not even necessarily saying they should, I wish Alex Box would adjust and get something like this a little bit more because it brings more to the atmosphere. But man, you come off the field and you sit down on the bench at Florida, and it felt, you're sitting there having a conversation, it felt like the fans were doing this. Like they were literally right there. You could hear everything. They were right on top of you. It felt like they were in the huddle listening to what the game plan was going forward. That shit was loud. So like that place felt hostile while you were in there. Now I love shit like that, but that's what it felt like. So for me on the road in my time, Florida was crazy. And you can only imagine too, because those were the days of Tim Tebow and all of that stuff that they had going on. They were good then.
I have no. I mean, I didn't get to experience.
I guess you played against Aaron Hernandez, didn't you?
Did I play against Aaron Hernandez?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe so. I just don't. It must have had to be either my sophomore and junior year, I believe. Yeah, I think I was still there when they had Tebow, Riley Cooper, and Aaron Hernandez. Really think about that. It's 3 on the same squad.
We're bad.
I'm not. If you know the history, I'll leave it there. All 3 of them, I'm pretty sure, are all in the same squad. Yeah. So yeah.
Shout out Herb. Fonz again. Ask Jay Bitch, did you ever have anyone you faced in a game talk shit until you routed them up?
No, I mean, bro, like it's all noise. Like I don't really pay attention to shit like that. But I will tell you this. I do remember this. My sophomore year, this was 2 or 3 weeks into the season. We had an LSU game day. I mean, game day was at LSU. It was a big top 5 matchup. Virginia Tech came in town.
Ooh,
and to start the week as we're doing, we got game film and everything going. So like, just so you kind of have a good idea of what we did back then, to start the week, you'd have the team meetings, you'd have the special teams meetings, and all of those big meetings, you got, the scouting report of the players, but you also out loud went through, hey, this is such and such, he's 6'3", he's 245 pounds, and obviously you knew position he played, right? So like all that was going on. Well, they had one dude on the team, I'm like, what the, huh? At this position? Say what? Okay, turn on the film, start watching, I'm like, all right, cool. I remember literally first drive of the game, I'm like in the slot, and sure enough, like look up over the field, and we had a run play going away from me, and I just wanted to set the tone. So I just remember being like, oh yeah, that scouting report was true. What it looked like, bet. He's just not gonna have these knees anymore because I got to let him know I'm here all night because it's either me or it's you. So sure enough, they snapped the ball, and I just dead sprint. I went to try to cut him 15 yards down the field. Like and I hit him, and he kind of like jumped back and felt it. He was like, hey man, come on, cuz. I'm like, nah, dog, I'm here all night. I'm chopping this tree all night. That player happened to turn out to be Cam Chancellor. He was on that squad. So
I'd go low on him too.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. I mean, what do you want me to do? Get on the trampoline and try to hit him face to face? Nah, I'm good.
Business decision. Got to do something.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, he had to get to work. It is what it is.
I don't want any part of that.
You gotta understand, man, when you get on the field in them situations, you look across the line a lot of times and it's like, hey, It's either him or it's me.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm not about to just let it be me.
No doubt. If you ain't go hard, he's coming hard at you.
I'm not about to just give it to you.
No doubt.
Cam Chancellor, he made a living taking souls.
He did.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He did.
Monster. We got any more? Was that it?
Yeah, Fonzarelli again, back in the chat. Ask him Newton. Did y'all see the LSU baseball staff retweeting Blake Baker wearing the gold top and baseball hat?
Hey, baseball guy. Blake Baker, baseball guy. Do you like the baseball hat look? That's another question.
I think phenomenal. But I think it's more of a statement from him not doing it last year where he wore it all year in practice and then would change for the game. And then now he was like, I can be myself, and I think this is my look.
Oh, that's his
and
look.
You've seen support from baseball to football and football to baseball, which has been crazy because we had, I believe it was Ahmad Bro in, and he was talking about LSU baseball and guys that he played with in high school that, like, they all were retweeting about the baseball team, and it was Pearson.
Yep.
They played against him in football.
Yep.
I remember we ran the tape.
The younger Pearson.
Yes. But, like, to see that kind of – it feels like a real college. It feels like the camaraderie is almost like high school where it's like we all know each other.
Kind of felt like that when we were back there.
That's what it kind of reminded me of because it wasn't like that for a while. It felt very segregated. But now that baseball is good, obviously winning national championships, it feels like football is on that come up. But to see the staff both support has been a very cool thing in my mind.
Yeah, I think that is awesome. It's that's what makes it special because everybody – you're around these guys all the time, whether it's we used to work out with the football team or where the football team, practiced. But then you got, the Cox Center, study hall, all that kind of stuff. You're around all these guys all the time. So that was a really cool thing. Yeah, it's nice to see that for sure.
A rising tide raises all boats.
There you go. Is Fonz done with his questions?
Oh, we also have another, not from Fonz.
There we go.
Where did it go? Sabrion Green. Ask him and him. Expectations for LSU after week 1?
I think it's playoffs. I mean,
for the season.
Yep. Like
playoffs.
Obviously
Playoffs.
after, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's playoffs.
I'm honestly wondering too. Like, I don't really know how you go about it, but I do think the conference championship games are going to start losing their luster a little bit. And it's not, and I don't know, I wouldn't sit here and say it's because of so much if we lose this game, we're not in the playoffs, but it's what do we lose by running our best players out there?
Right.
Like, I think that's the mindset of it. So, like, as far as hey, will they win the SEC? I don't know because I do think that the mindset, and that's around the country too, I do think the mindset of those games will start changing. You got to look at it like, I think a lot of those people are going to look at like NFL right now. You go through, 18 weeks and 17 games, I believe, right?
Correct.
Used to be 17 weeks and 16 games, 18 weeks and 17 games. You get to that after week 15, a lot of those teams they start bowing out unless they're literally playing for, hey, this gives us the first round bye. And even sometimes we've seen some of those teams say, hey, we'd rather just get healthy and just get in. Mm-hmm. We know we got a home game. So I think teams are going to start looking at that conference championship game that way. So if I'm going to sit here and say, like, what do I expect out of them? I expect playoffs out of them. I don't know if that's to the tune of conference championship, however they go about it. But I do think the mindset now is going to be geared towards how much on all cylinders can we be hitting and how healthy can we be once we hit this playoff schedule, if that's where we're going to get.
Correct. I think it's playoffs, and I think that like it's too early to say, oh, they're the front runner to win the SEC. Based off of everybody who played teams in the week 1, LSU obviously had the most impressive win, but in the SEC, right? But Alabama struggled. You would imagine they're going to get better. Georgia's obviously good, but they didn't play anybody. South Carolina had a big win, but you don't know how they're going to progress as the season goes. But I would say playoffs. If my expectations after week 1, playoffs. Now, winning the SEC or being top team in the SEC, that'd be great. But getting to the playoffs is the main goal, and winning national championship is the main goal. Can't do that unless you make it to the playoffs.
I mean, it's the first time you've gotten to exhale in week 2,
right? In 5 years.
5 years,
right?
4 years with Brian Kelly at least, where it's like, okay, 1-0 for the first time since we've been here. So then you get instead of going into Nichols and you better look impressive.
Which they did not.
No, they didn't. Guggenheim
Guggenheim
got off the leash.
The bomb.
And then But this is the first time that it feels like you can have a collective exhale, but then that's on the staff to be like, look, that's not we checked a box. It's not the goal.
Yeah.
But we checked a box. And you would expect them to continue to play well.
Correct. Is that it?
Alex Tolano.
There we go.
Ask Mikey and Mitch. LSU and Florida prediction. See, you can't. We're looking
No,
ahead.
we're not doing that.
We're looking ahead.
We're not doing that.
Alex, it's 1-0 every week, guys.
We're not doing that. Can't do that.
We can't do that because
that's
rat poison.
And I'm a mush.
Yep.
I don't want to mush
Forgot
anything.
about that. Mikey the Mush.
I ain't mushing anything.
It was Jay Mitch the Mush.
Yeah, I'm not doing
First
anything.
time.
Is that it?
No, we had one more. Dustin B. #337.
Hey.
Ask him and him. What is the tricky spot on the schedule where LSU can get caught sleeping and lose the game they're supposed to win?
This week?
Yeah,
I mean, technically,
look, every game's tough, and I was telling someone this the other day. A game that kind of it's so hard because it's so far away from right now, but a game that I think is going to be a big game, bigger than it was when the schedule came out, is the last game of the season at Oklahoma.
Yep.
Obviously that's so far away, and you can't even want to talk about that yet. A lot of things has to happen, but they obviously have a quarterback, and but you're on the road at Oklahoma with a guy who can spin it. I just, looking at it right now,
he's clearly invested in these games.
Right, right, and looking at it right now, like that one, makes you nervous. Now, who's to say it doesn't change in 7 weeks? But if you had to make a decision right now, that one.
Yeah, I mean, I already told you the next one, honestly. I mean, bro, you played in the SEC. The schedule is littered with ball games that you could possibly lose. Right. It's literally just littered. I don't really – with the way the schedule is set up this year, I don't foresee them to say – I don't think it's fair to sit here and say, I expect them to get through October being unbeaten. There's a lot of good ball clubs. They're going to play A&M. They're going to play they're going to play South Carolina. They're going to play Florida. They're going to play, a lot of these teams.
Miss.
So you're getting those ball games at home, which would technically most likely probably put you in especially where you are right now. If you're going into each one of those without a loss, you're probably going to be the team that's favored. But those are a whole bunch of opportunities that you can slip up on. So I don't really think that you can kind of go down and kind of look at it. I really do. When the season started, Mikey's talking about the last week. I looked at week 3. I was whatever you say we got, I get it. But this is a team you lost to on the road last year who's bringing a lot back, who has the quarterback that's healthy now, right? And this is his second year in that system. That's possibly a spot you can slip up at, right?
No doubt.
So, that's kind of how I saw it from the start.
And you played a good football game.
You dominated the game, and you lost.
It could have been, and that could have been the Clemson story also, where you look at the tape and you watch the game and you see, damn, go back and look at the numbers. You outplayed them, and that's my biggest concern moving forward is just the decision-making in certain spots, because that's the hardest part of being a head coach is when do I go for it, when do I not? And that's where those games are won
and I respect
lost
him for saying that he made the wrong decision.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've watched the presser. His most impressive press conference since he's been at LSU. Very confident.
Well, he should be.
And he knew what he was talking about.
You can tell he's very confident in the team that he's got.
Yes. And excited to talk about him.
Yes.
If that's the case, kick the field goal before the half, then damn it. Jesus.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah,
he
he's
said
like,
it
it's my fault.
He made the mistake.
It was a mistake. It didn't make any sense.
No, it did not. It did not.
Said the analytics said to go for it. And he goes, well, actually, with that amount of time left, and what we like, what was the point?
See, God, that's what I don't like about analytics, man. And I'm not saying that this is Coach Kelly. I'm literally not. I'm just talking about the human condition, the mindset of the human. So if analytics are the wave, if I go by the analytics and they work for us, I look like the forward-thinking genius, right? If it doesn't work for us, it is a built-in excuse that doesn't say it's my fault.
Right.
And the human condition says, if that's the case, then more people are going to lean on that as opposed to sitting here and sticking your neck out and saying, I'm making this decision because I believe this, or because me and my staff believe that this is how it should be done. And I don't like how much analytics are in some of this stuff, because this is the best way to explain analytics. Analytics, we can go and we can punch in 4th and 2 from the 4 across the country. Did people go for it? If they went for it, did they get it? You can get that. We can pull that up. That metric will also not tell you, hey, a couple of these games were North Dakota State versus Tinker Top Tech. So they're in that as well. A couple of these games won't tell you that maybe it's Ohio State facing Ohio. A couple of these games won't tell you that this was in the fourth quarter compared to the first quarter. Those situations are not the same.
Right.
Right? And it doesn't tell you that. And that's what I don't like about analytics because, yes, and this is, for me, it goes the same way on the baseball field. Hey, Aaron Judge is up. Where does he hit the majority of his ground balls? Oh, they're hit right here. Okay, but who are they hit against? This is who we got throwing. This is what he does good. Is that guy that's on the mound actually executing what he does well? And it does that factor into the analytics that are there. So, like, it doesn't tell you all that stuff. It just gives you a mass number of what someone does. And I think if that's what we're going to rely on to either position ourselves on the field on the baseball field, to either call plays or make calls on football field when it's those, I think it's an easy cop-out. And I just don't like that that's where it's at. And like I said, that's not geared towards Brian Kelly. That is literally the human condition of how to do things, how humans do things.
Analytics are based off of a bunch of data points, like a long term. Like, hey,
it's an average.
If you do this over the course of the year, you're gonna be successful in that 70% of the time or 65% of the time. But doesn't mean it's 100% of the time. That's why when you look at baseball teams that go in the playoffs, you don't utilize analytics as much as they did during the season because they have to. It's a smaller snippet. Like you saw it with the Dodgers a few years ago. Whenever they didn't start Bellinger and they didn't start Max Muncy against a lefty and they lost. I think it was in the World Series or the NLCS or whatever it was. And Roberts came back out and he's like, yeah, you know what? I probably shouldn't have done that. You know, like I got to play our best guys.
But the numbers said. And so the next year they went in that same situation and they played the best guys, right? So it's just, I'm with you 100%, Jared. I mean, especially when it comes to college football, because everything you laid out, like the NFL analytics are different because the parity is there. If it's Florida versus Long Island University, like you really can't.
They're all different, though.
Yeah.
They're all different. They're all, like, literally all of these situations are different, and you don't know, like, what's the cost if I choose to. Like, if I'm facing, let's just think about it. Go back to the NFL last year. If I'm facing, I don't know, let's just say, who was the most explosive offense in the NFL last year?
Detroit Lions.
So let's say I'm facing the Detroit Lions. Now flip it to say, who was the worst offense in the league last year?
New Orleans Saints.
That's fair. Okay, well, like literally, I'm just being honest. That's fair. If I get to 4th and 2 on Detroit's 3-yard line, that's a different decision than if I'm at 4th and 2 on the Saints' yard line. Because if I don't get it, what's the chance that they drive that bitch down and score on me? Analytics don't account for that. They just tell you on 4th and 2, there's a 60% chance that says you'll score.
Right.
Go.
Right.
That's not telling me who I'm playing against and what we're doing.
Correct.
They don't say any of that. So, like, those are the things. And I'm not saying that coaches don't put, hey, who we're playing. I'm just saying, like, that the human condition allows you to sit here and say, oh, the analytics say do it. Easy decision. Do it. It ain't me if it goes wrong. And if it goes right, I look like the genius.
You mentioned Detroit, and that is a part of why they were one of the most dangerous offenses in the NFL. They go for it a lot, but that's their identity. It's not an analytically driven thing. It's this is our team mindset.
I mean, he would go for it on times that analytics probably said no.
No, don't stop that. But that's what he wants to build. That he's conditioning his team to be like, this is what we do.
Correct.
We had one more.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. If LSU's defense continues this way, will Blake Baker be gone? I love this part of the fan base.
Here's my question. Here's a real question. This is a very serious question.
You're getting paid $2.6 million a year, or whatever it is.
It depends if what he wants.
I'm being honest when I ask this question. We knew what was going on at Alabama when Alabama's turnover in terms of assistant coaches turned into what it was. And now that's kind of the wave also at Georgia. But when did LSU turn into like a stepping stone job?
Well, I think the coordinators, they get a head job. That's what he's talking about. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not saying that they don't. My point is like, when did LSU take a step down to where the thought process is, if we have a young coach that's doing good, he's probably going to take the Baylor job. He's probably going to take another job.
I don't think you would consider that a stepping stone. I would just think that you would consider if he's a coordinator and he gets a head coaching job. So you're saying Baylor's
on the same level as LSU? That's a stepping stone.
No, I'm talking about if it's a stepping stone would be if you're a head coach at LSU taking another head coaching job at another school. That would be, in my consider, a stepping stone. If you're a coordinator, you get an opportunity to be a head
coordinator.
Huh?
There's not stepping stones for coordinators?
I think he's saying
I'm talking about if he's
takes
moving
a head coaching job.
Yeah, if he's moving up and he gets an opportunity to be a head coaching job, I wouldn't consider that a stepping stone. Would be making a lateral move to a school that you feel like is better. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he's leaving, but I'm saying if he has aspirations of being a head coach and he feels like that's his best chance of doing it, like, you know, that's what I would say. I wouldn't consider that a stepping stone job unless he's making a lateral move to the same position that he's coaching.
Yeah, if he goes from LSU to Ole Miss to continue to be a defensive coordinator, that's like, what are we doing?
Correct.
But if he goes from, like, does the Dave Aranda route where he goes from LSU defensive coordinator to get to be the Baylor head coach, I want the opportunity to be a head coach. If you're Joe Sloan or, Joe Brady, and you get the opportunity to go be an offensive coordinator in the NFL, if that's what you want to do, like, you could consider that. I wouldn't consider it a lateral move. It's a jump to the professional ranks.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, from a coordinator to a head coach, I wouldn't consider that a stepping stone move, quote unquote.
But if it continues this way, I mean, I would imagine.
I wouldn't think he's leaving this year.
No, but I'd imagine somebody will try. Somebody will do something because they want to get the.
I mean, look, Pete Golding hasn't taken a head coaching job. He knows he's gotten opportunities to. He's waiting for he's in the situation where he's going to pick the right situation for him.
Right. I'd also think
I'm hoping that's what Blake
Pete
Baker
Golding
does.
was in a different situation where it kind of people looked at Nick Saban and said that's the defensive guy.
Well, right.
And Pete Golding's running.
Let me ask y'all a question, because I think y'all are misunderstanding what I'm saying about this. If all goes right let's just say, since we're using that one as an example, if all goes right for Dave Aranda at Baylor, is that his end-all be-all spot?
No, I think if he had a better school that he wanted to go to after being a head coach, he'd take that.
So this is a stepping stone job that you took. That's
but
my point.
He's taking it from a head coach to a head coach.
I understand what you're saying, but you're not taking it to stay there. That's my point. Like, you're taking it for you to continue to elevate yourself, and I said you don't see this as like, yeah, this is the top of this part of my profession. Unlike, like you said, Lloyd, if you're talking about taking a coordinator job and or the head coaching job at Oregon and or the head coaching job at Oklahoma, that's not stepping stone. That is, I've arrived. To me, you take a Baylor job and or, I don't know, maybe at this point a UCLA job, like something where you got to go build and win where they haven't been doing it at, and they don't have a real recent history of that. To me, that's a stepping stone job, because I don't care if it's at Baylor and the pay probably goes up. You're not trying to stay at Baylor.
Right.
If you take that job and you're him and you're Todd Monken and you never get a job as a head coach, but you're always an offensive coordinator in the league, that's an end all be all. That's a step up to me. Not I'm gonna take the Baylor job, and I mean no disrespect by it, but like, I don't think he's taking that job to say this is where I want to be.
Well, I'm not
where I want to lay the hat if it all goes right.
I'm not saying he's going to take that job either. He just used Aranda as an example. I'm just saying him taking a head coaching job at maybe a bigger school. I don't consider taking if he wants to be a head coach, and that's his opportunity to be a head coach. I don't consider that a
lateral move.
I don't consider that being.
That's where we disagree, because for me, I don't consider that he's taking that job because that's where he wants to stay. He's not taking that job because he's like, I always wanted to be the Baylor head coach. I think this is the best job.
I agree with that.
If I do this right, I want to stay here.
But that's a way for him to. So Mike Elko is a great example.
If you're sitting here saying that's a way for him, then that's a stepping stone job.
Mike Elko is a great example. Defensive coordinator at Alabama, making all that money, doing really well. Took a stepping stone job at Duke. Turned that program around. Now he's a head coach at Texas A&M. That was his opportunity to become a head coach. That's all I'm saying.
So that's a stepping stone job.
Yeah.
Right, but it wasn't a lateral move for him, because that was his way of becoming a head coach.
You keep bringing up the lateral move. I never said it had to be a lateral move. I'm literally just saying, when did it become like, let's take a stepping stone job? Let's get out of here at the first thing that comes, because that's kind of what that's what the premise of the question is around, is like, oh my God, how can we keep him? And my question back was, when did this kind of become a stepping stone university? That's what I'm saying.
And I understand that. I don't think that question makes it seem like it's a stepping stone. I just think that he's doing really well, and if he wants to be a head coach, this is his way of being an opportunity of becoming a head coach somewhere.
Yeah,
and he's not going to go take the UL job or whatever. He's going to take a bigger job. He's not going to leave LSU to go to some small school. But I think that him taking a head coach, if he wants to be a head coach and he gets it at a Power 5 conference, I believe that if he feels like that's his best chance of getting into the head coaching ranks, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that LSU is a stepping stone. I don't think it is. I think it's going to have to be the right job for him to leave to go and do it.
Yeah, and that's where like the conversation differs, is if it depends on what you want to do personally, if you want to be a head coach. But then, yeah, you can't – I don't know how much confidence you'd have to have in yourself to go from LSU defensive coordinator, have head coaching opportunities, not take them, and then wait for one of the best jobs in the country to open up. Like, it depends on how you view yourself and what your situation is at LSU, because – like, it's not easy to become the head coach at LSU, Alabama,
right? Because those schools are going to they're going to hire someone with head coaching experience.
Like, it very rarely works out where you get to go from DC to head coach first time in a Power 4 program that's nationally relevant.
Right.
You got to build something, I guess. So that's it. That's where you're both
right.
All.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody's wrong. That's what I would think. Yeah. Was that the last question? Yep. Appreciate all the questions for Ask Mikey Mitch. Ask Mikey Mitch brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. If you missed it, it's the gold game for Florida, right? Lloyd?
What?
The gold game is Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect time to go get some attire at
yes.
Alumni Hall, right? They got all the attire that you possibly need, all the LSU gear that you need to go and represent the gold game. If you don't want to wear gold, they got purple, they got white, they got whatever you want.
There's
Hats.
also a purple game this year.
There's also a purple game. You're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to get some new gear for these themed games. Alumni Hall's got everything that you need. They have every single brand that you can possibly want: Nike, Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, more, any type of style. They have men, they have women, they have kids, they have big and tall sizes. Look, they even got 2025 Nike Air Maxes. Look at that, newest thing on the website right now.
These are actually the best LSU shoes that have ever come out.
If you want to go support and you want to look stylish at the same time, Air Max is making a comeback. They got the LSU themed Air Maxes at Alumni Hall. They have everything that you want to be able to be the biggest super fan that you can possibly be. They're located in Perkins Row, right next to the
CVS.
Well, right next to the movie theater and right next to Barnes and Noble. If you want to go, maybe go read a little book, go buy a book, and then go get some stuff at Alumni Hall. They got that for you. If for every $150 you spend there, you get $10 of hall cash to use later. So you go out there and you continue to buy your attire, you get some free money, you go buy some for free.
Look, basically. Shoes are $125. You just need to buy a T-shirt with it. You're all good. You get that hall cash.
Yeah, you get some hall cash. Not hard to do. Not hard. They got everything that you need. It's a great place. The store's awesome, beautiful. They got all the latest drops. Go check them out. Alumni Hall in Perkins Row. All right. What y'all got tomorrow on the game? Are y'all excited for the NFL? Start of the NFL?
I'm just such a college football.
I know, but I've gotten really much. I've gotten real into the NFL the last few years. I don't know. Jay, what do you think?
I'm ready. What you mean when I think I'm ready? Of course.
You're an NFL guy, though, right?
I feel like the football season really kicks off when NFL football gets in full swing as well.
When you got college and NFL going.
College is obviously great. But it really feels like football is really in play when you can truly multiple games on Saturday and Sunday. Not just hey, we throw a couple and we got one nightcap on Sunday because we got one college game and we got one nightcap on Monday. That's a college game. It feels like football is really in swing when you get a full slate Saturday, you get a full slate of NFL on Sunday, and then you get the primetime NFLs on Monday. That's where I'm at. I'm ready. Obviously, we got the Thursday night game that kicks it off. I'm ready.
Brazil to Friday.
You got Brazil on Friday.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I agree, I guess. There's something special about Saturday going into Sunday, and you don't have, you have something to watch every day.
From Thursday on.
Right.
Football.
You don't have to find content But I can't wait for the NFL to start for one of the main reasons is we can get these talking heads off of college football. They don't know what they're talking about because you have to talk about it because it's the only sport really going when it comes to football. And it's like you have all these people making opinions about and shifting a narrative that it's like it's 1 week of college football. When the NFL starts, that's when they'll get away from us. For me, get out of my game.
Look, Orlovsky's an NFL guy, but he's also good at college. He's also good
I
at.
don't mind people break. I'm talking about like the prognosticators and like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, and I mean, they made it very known. Who's my guy? Skip Bayless, and who's the one on?
How about Skip Bayless's tweet about UNC?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, get out of here.
Championship level
National
offense.
championship offense.
Oh, yeah,
he scored
really?
7 points until
Really?
Max Johnson came in for his 8th year.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so I'm just ready for the narratives to get a little bit smaller. Now, y'all go over there. Go up.
I'm
to
with
the,
you.
The
Look,
big
I'm ready.
leagues.
Look, if you got fantasy, you got more gambling stuff to gamble on in the NFL. It's just it's football. Once the NFL season starts, football's like really here, really, really here. So fired up about that. All right, mistake of the day, Lloyd.
Speaking of the NFL, mistake of the day, as was broken on Twitter and a little bit on Pat McAfee's show, there was the NFL Red Zone partnering with ESPN. It's not ESPN's fault, according to Scott Van Pelt. But NFL Red Zone breaks ad-free streak with 2025 commercials. NFL Red Zone, the popular channel for uninterrupted NFL highlights, will introduce full commercials in the 2025 season, ending its 16-year ad-free tradition. Host Scott Hansen, the longtime face of the show, promised that key moments like touchdowns won't be missed amid fan backlash over ESPN's acquisition of perceived corporate greed. So social media erupted with frustration as users lamented the change, ruining the channel's pure football focus, with some threatening to boycott ahead of the September 7th kickoff.
Let me ask you this: when they say full commercials, does that mean like completely cutting away?
I don't know.
Or does that mean they're going to have the commercial, like a split screen with the commercial and the sound, and maybe have the game on there that you can still watch it with no
I
sound?
think they'll do that.
Very good question. It kind of like introduced them a little bit last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But like,
Yeah, I don't know.
when they say full
know.
commercials, does that mean, hey, you get the full screen, you're going to have nothing else on the screen but you, or does it mean you're going to have the sound, they can see what you're showing, but you also get to see the game? Because listen, the games don't stop just because you want to show a commercial. Like, what if you do miss something?
That's the whole point of Red Zone.
You don't know if you're going to miss something. You don't know when the play, unless you have a script. You don't know if you're going to miss a touchdown. What if it's a pick six that you don't know? You can't expect that to happen.
What if they go to commercial but break into commercial? Like if with that touchdown, they put it back on the screen like, oh, pick six, and they
won't do
show
that.
it.
I don't think that'll happen.
Well, they keep the audio and like it'll be like a split screen, like
Right.
they do in golf. I wonder if it's during like they have full screen commercial, pick six touchdown happens, bring back the game with the commercial still on.
Yeah.
That would be the only. I mean, I didn't miss it, and Scott Hansen can finally take a piss.
He said he's not. He said he's not doing
Well,
it.
I'd imagine the full commercial probably only 30 seconds. That's a quick piss.
He actually went through kind of his routine a little bit on McAfee today. He said he really only is standing like the first like 90 seconds of the show, and the rest of it he's in front of like this big like thing of screens, and he sits there and kind of. I mean, not to sit. I'm sorry. He's still kind of standing, but he's like not in that little desk that has him
right.
standing there. He doesn't spend the commercial free hours there.
It's going to be interesting to see. There's going to be obviously there's
Scott
going to be a lot of,
Hansen, a little full of himself.
I mean, dude, he has a hard job. I'll give him
Sure,
that.
I mean, a lot of people do.
Okay. True.
You think he's full of himself?
Yeah, I think he's trying to not be, but it's very apparent that he comes through that he thinks he's the most, like he wants to not be. And
He has a lot of pride in his job.
He does.
And that's okay.
Maybe it's too much pride in the Red Zone channel because he was talking. I watched the fucking McAfee interview, and he was like, NFL players tell me how important the red zone is, and other teams are telling me how important the red zone is. And I started doing this whenever I was a beat writer and I was covering the Cowboys, but then I would see a touchdown on a different screen, and I was nudging people around me saying, oh, look, a touchdown. It's like, that's what everybody fucking does. Like, oh, they just scored. I don't know how that makes you different than anyone else.
I think that's funny he said, Lloyd. I honestly think the guy, he does have a history of playing football too. Like I think in college somewhere. And
was he watching other games
I think
then?
the guy is honestly just a absolute nut hair, huge fan of football. And this gives him the opportunity to make a lifetime only working in football. Like, I really do, and I think he sees it. I took that part of what he said about the NFL players and NFL coaches and stuff like that as he understands or feels the obligation and the responsibility that platform is giving him, and it's given football, and I think he takes that serious. That's how I took it, though.
Scott Hansen.
Chris Hansen. More
Syracuse, maybe?
Scott Hansen that's who we're talking about. Scott Hansen.
Yeah.
Don't confuse me with Chris Hansen. Scott Hansen walked on at Syracuse. How old do you think he is?
45.
54.
Good. Closer to
Doesn't
the
look
end.
54.
That may be the part of what Lloyd thinks he's feeling himself.
Yeah, good for you. But like the red zone goes on without you. Like I understand what you do, and I think you're good at bridging the gap from game to game. But if he didn't exist and they just played the red zone and just cut and cut and cut and cut, nobody would fucking care.
No,
They would
I
still
like
watch
him.
it.
I like the.
I'm just saying
I don't
it's
think
not
that's true.
that.
I don't think that's true. I like the commentary.
I think it would drop. I'm not saying it wouldn't be a good show that people wouldn't still lock into it, but I think the numbers and the ratings would drop. And I do think the beginning of that in I won't say beginning, but that and fantasy football together has absolutely grown the game to a crazy level too.
Yeah,
I like how he talks you through the situations.
Yeah, whenever they have both audio of him going and the.
Well, I mean, not everything, but like when he cuts you to a game that you haven't been
Somebody
watching.
doesn't like it.
When he cuts you to a game that you haven't been watching, he gives you the situation.
I know, I agree. I actually do like that he does that. I like the setup, but sometimes he gets a little big for his britches, oversteps.
It's his show. You know what I mean?
It's not. It's not.
It's his show. All right, curtain call.
Curtain call to Stream East. End of an era.
I saw a tweet that said that we have not
They caught him in Egypt.
I saw a tweet by them. They said they have not been.
I know, but I don't know.
Been canceled.
And then everybody started like flooding the tweet with, "You can watch it here, 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 and here. You'll never catch all of us," which I love because streaming illegally is my favorite thing in the world.
Yeah, we know.
There's no way to stop it, and they
computer's
got
gonna explode one day.
They got 2 Egyptians and like 2 laptops. Like, you think that was running Stream East? There's people everywhere. It's impossible to stop. So give up. Just let us have it for free.
Lloyd said it's my favorite thing in the world.
Should have seen me in Buc-ee's. Everything's free.
Oh my God. You're out of control. My curtain call would go to, and man, we had a good conversation about it early. I don't think at all it'd be fair to call it low-hanging fruit, but good for the rest of the players or whoever it was in that Astros clubhouse, which I hope that someday we get a chance to find out who it was that stepped up to kind of check Framber on that nonsense. That was some bullshit.
It was.
So my curtain call would go to that because those are the kind of things that happens behind the scenes on good teams that people don't realize. That accountability, that willingness to check each other when shit ain't right, that usually puts you over the top against another quote unquote good team. Those are the kind of teams that go far. And I'm not saying that you need fights and all of that nonsense like that, but having the balls or having people in the clubhouse who's okay with doing stuff like that when it ain't right and speaking up about it, that usually goes far for teams in terms of being a good team and going deep into seasons and our playoffs, however you want to look at it.
No doubt. No doubt. Love that. Okay, my curtain call, and let me get through this because it's not – Lloyd's going to make fun of me, but it's not what you think. My curtain call is to Brian Kelly. And it's not because he won the first game for the first time. It's not because he's got – he finally got everybody in on the – spent money on the portal and all that kind of stuff. It's because Brian Kelly feels like is making a concerted effort, and it may have be because they're good and he's confident in their team, but it seems like he's making a concerted effort to change his image. Mm-hmm. He's been a lot more enjoyable recently, and this is even before they won the game. Making jabs, making some jokes, a lot more. It feels like he's a lot more approachable. And so now after the back and forth between him and Dabo, right, he's feeling good about the team, feeling good about what he's doing. But I feel like he's been doing this over the last 8 months, and now that they're winning, it's just going to get a little bit more recognized by the national media. And shout out to him, curtain call to Brian Kelly, for changing, for allowing people to see him in a different light, and his image is changing, which I think is a good thing. Because if you hate somebody, you root against them just because you don't like that one guy. You may like LSU, but you don't like him. If you like him, then you get a lot more people on LSU side, which is always a good thing.
Everybody likes a winner.
That's it. So shout out.
Also, on top of that, Cajun Curveball, $5 super chat. Good job, BK. Defer the motherfucking kick, bro. We have a top 10 out of 5 defense. Makes me start seeing red. So he hasn't won everybody.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if he won the coin toss.
We don't know.
Does anybody know that? If anybody in the chat knows if we won the coin toss and we took the ball, I don't know. I don't know who won the toss.
But he still made some of this. But yeah, I agree. He's the jokes land. Everybody's you're a little bit funnier if you're doing it what people want you to do and win. But he also has been very much adamant that it's very funny the way that it goes if you win, because what he's throwing up like the last 3 teams he coached under the bus was like, we didn't have any good players. He's like, well, you had Brian Thomas, Malik Neighbors, Jaden
but that's not
Daniels.
exactly what he means.
He's like, he said it again. He's like, we got better players.
They do.
Well, yeah, but that's on you, dog.
Go
get him.
I understand that. He understands that. I'm not. I mean,
We're
that's
not paying up for play here.
I'm just saying he has the team.
Now we
to
are.
do.
I can't believe you're still on that, Lloyd. You know.
I know.
You know that wasn't what it was.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Yes, you do. Okay. Yes, the hell you do.
1-0, baby. 1-0.
Don't ruin my curtain call, Lloyd, by making everybody hate him again.
Lost the toss.
Did they?
Dabo deferred.
So there you go. So we didn't have an opportunity to do it.
Two
we'll see what happens.
timeouts
Hopefully,
in the first 7
whenever he
minutes
wins
of
the
the
toss, whenever he wins the toss,
We'll find out more.
we'll find out.
2 timeouts in the first 7 minutes was impressive.
2 what?
2 timeouts in the first 7 minutes.
Both teams actually called 2 timeouts in the first
both
quarter.
teams did. Made it a little better because they did it too.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. All right. We appreciate y'all for tuning in on this beautiful Wednesday. Enjoy first game of the NFL season tomorrow night. We'll be back live in studio on Friday talking a lot of gambling. We're going to hit our parlay this weekend. I guarantee it. We are going to do it. Maybe have a little guest picker from the chat.
A smaller one? Oh. Like
a little picker?
A little.
Whoa.
You could say it.
Hey.
I said, you heard what I said.
Maybe a little,
You heard what I said.
maybe a guest addition to the parlay from the chat on Friday. We'll be back live in studio. We appreciate y'all. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you can't watch us, but you like listening to us. Well, anywhere you get your pods. Again, we appreciate the support. We love y'all. See you on Friday. Peace.
Hit him.
Shimmy. Didn't love it.
Nothing.
Didn't love
Damn.
it. Not even a thumbs up.
Damn.
That's nonsense.